In this episode, we have overcome so many technical difficulties, it's not even funny. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? My name is Michael Sahno, and welcome to the Sea and Land Fitness Podcast, the podcast of professional tactical fitness. This podcast is brought to you by Sea and Land Fitness, of course. You can find us at www.sandlfit.com. That's www.sandlfit.com. Check the link in the description below. We've got all kinds of stuff for you, and I will go over it at the end of the podcast. This podcast is also brought to you by, who is it brought to you by? 511 Tactical, makers of some of the best tactical and tactical fitness equipment on the planet. I use their stuff, their sandbags, and their vests. So head on down, like I said, to the link in the description below and check their stuff out. We're also brought to you by Gatorz Eyewear. If you've seen Navy, I think it's Navy SEALs. If you streamed it on Paramount, you've seen them wearing those sunglasses. They're great. They're bomb proof. They are metal framed. And if you check out that show or just about any military base in the United States or outside the United States, you'll see them. Check the link in the description below. We're also brought to you by Thorne Research, makers of some of the most useful, beneficial, and just best all-around supplements on the planet. Why? Because what's on the outside of the bottle is inside the bottle. They use third-party certification verification so that you're getting what you pay for. Link in the description below again. And finally, we're also brought to you by RDX Sports, makers, all the best, right? Makers of some of the best combat sports equipment on the planet. I use their gloves for Muay Thai. I also use their focus pad mitts for Muay Thai and for my exercise programs. So again, check the link in the description below. I'll go over all of these at the end of the episode, but I am just, my brain hurts. I bought a new piece of equipment. It totally S the bed on me and wound up screwing up the audio. And I bought that piece of equipment because another piece of equipment failed. But the most recent, it was a great episode. I was super excited about it, but it sounded like I was screaming into a metal garbage can, and it sounded horrible. So hopefully this one will come out just right. So what's going on? This episode, what I wanted to talk to you guys about, and what I'm going to talk to you guys about, is noodles, Korean noodles, Blackpink in your area. So, and my fight with the Google algorithm on whether or not you should eat those noodle bowls. So this all goes back to, and it's a little bit interesting. So I'm going to take you, hold on, I'm going to have a sip of coffee. Peter Madeira, this is for you. So this topic is pretty interesting because I'm in a fight with the algorithm and I'm going to win. I'm in a fight over the validity of my experience versus the validity of research reviews. Okay. So the story begins. with me walking through the living room and hearing a language on the television that I didn't recognize. It wasn't, I recognized that it was one of the Asian languages, because I've just through experience, I've had experience with a bunch of them. And this one was familiar, but similar to something else. And I couldn't place it. So I was like, first I thought it was Japanese. And I'm like, what are you watching? I said to my wife, who was watching something on television. And she said, I'm watching Korean horror movies. They're amazing. And so I was like, whoa, holy cow. All right. So apparently she had been watching them for quite some time. Little hiccup there, sorry. And she wanted me to start watching them with her because she thought that, you know, I would really appreciate them. And oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I wrote this in the article I wrote on it, drinking from a fire hose in terms of Korean content. Because once you get in the algorithm, you can't get yourself out. So it started with a couple of movies and then a couple of shows and then me looking stuff up on YouTube and watching a bunch of videos. And next thing you know, my iPod, I have an iPod Touch, I'm old school, is filled with K-pop songs. And all of my workouts are extremely fun now because of this K-pop. But that's where the Blackpink in your area comes from. So yeah, I am I feel like a Korean teen girl right now because of all of the just vlogs and music and Korean drama that I am just digesting. Ingesting is and again, drinking from the fire hose. I'm enjoying it. So but as a sports scientist, as someone who is primarily concerned with fitness, health, nutrition, all of that. One of the things that I noticed is that in all of the shows, every single show, I challenge someone to find a show where this is not in it. Everyone is eating or dining of some sort. And it comes in a couple of different forms. One, it'll come in eating at home, eating at a restaurant, you know, or eating at home where a meal is served, or, and this was the interesting part, eating at a convenience store or at your desk. And one of the things that I saw in just about every show is that someone in some form in every class was eating instant noodles. The kind of noodles that you find in the grocery store, you know, your cup of noodles. And these noodle bowls, I was like, wow, those look good. Those look really, really, you know, delicious. So, what I did was first I went and checked out a couple of Asian markets, some apparently boutique Asian markets because the prices were ridiculous. And then a couple were better. And then I'm like, I'm going to check on Amazon. Let me see. And I found 6-packs of noodle bowls, ramen or ramyun, or rice bowls. And they were like, how much were they? I think they were $12 for 6, so $2 a piece. So I ordered a cubic F-ton of them and had them sent to the house. I actually had some before I made this episode. I had a teriyaki noodle bowl. And what's interesting about this is the main reason why I decided to do this is because in the background of all these shows, in the background of all these movies, in the background, everyone is relatively thin, lean, healthy. And I don't mean thin like some people are really too thin. But I've been told genetically that's not an outlier. Some people are just in Korea are just really freaking thin. So I was like, at first I was like, this is TV. Everyone's too skinny on TV. So maybe this isn't legit. Now, I told you I wound up going on YouTube and wound up in a little Korean culture deep dive. And it's really interesting because I found two things out. One, so your presenter, your influencer or whatever host of your YouTube video is going to look generally good. You know what I mean? Generally lean, good. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but generally thin, generally healthy, generally the epitome of what people would want to look like on camera. But what I focused on was the background, the people in the background. So one of the videos, a couple of the videos are tours, you know what I mean? Like a tour of a market in Seoul, a tour, a restaurant, sit down a meal at a restaurant or whatnot. And one of the things that I saw was in the background. It was like it was on television. People were generally healthy. There were no morbidly obese people like we have. It wasn't like going to Walmart in Alabama. You know what I mean? People were generally thin. People were generally healthy looking. Speaking of the rabbit hole, so one of the videos that wound up popping up was a woman. She's got a great channel. I can't remember what the heck it is right now, but she is single. She lives in Seoul. She works in an office, and she gives you an example of what she does in a day. And part of that is eating. And she routinely eats at least one meal that's instant. So instant noodles with kimchi, instant noodles, which is a fermented vegetable. Usually, I'm not going to say because I don't know. But all of these individuals, including this woman, all had instant noodles at some point during the day. But then they would have a filling dinner, healthy dinner in the evening. They usually ate around 2 meals a day, then had a snack somewhere in between and something before they went to bed too. So I started doing that. I decided, hey, I'm going to start doing that. I lost 10 pounds. I've been doing it for around a month. And I exercise outside, my normal exercise routine. I eat a good dinner. A good example was the dinner I had last night where I had white rice, a can of tuna, some mayo with the tuna. What else? Shredded carrots, sushi, soy sauce, and sriracha mayo, and also some crumbled up seaweed in it as well. So nice, good, filling meal. But everything in it was healthy. Everything in it was fresh, except for the tuna, which was canned, but it was fine. It's perfect. What's interesting and what I'm finding about these noodle bowls, these noodle cups, rice cups, is that they are decreasing the amount of food that I eat for my big meal, for my dinner. So my stomach is shrinking because I'm learning portion control, something that I thought I had a lock on, but didn't realize I did not have a lock on. I had no lock on it. It was unlocked, exposed to the world. So I'm really excited because it is something that I couldn't have done without these noodle bowls. And the nice thing about the noodle bowls and the rice cups is that they're like soup. So you know when people say if you're hungry just drink water, you might be thirsty. Well, it's not just that you're satiating thirst. You're not thirsty. It's water will fill up your stomach. And if your stomach is full, you will feel full. And what's nice about this broth is the broth has, it has flavor. It doesn't make you feel like you're just drinking water, which sometimes can be really, really boring. But the bottom line is when I'm done with it, I'm full. I'm good to go. It was kind of shocking. It was interesting. But I was shocked by it. I was like, I can't believe this worked. I can't believe, because I have routinely not eaten ramen or instant noodles because I had this preconceived notion. I'm going to have another sip of coffee. Hold on. I had this preconceived notion, and I'm going to be honest about it. It was poor people food. It was absolutely poor people food. And if it was poor people food, it meant it was highly processed and it was no good for me. And watching Korean media got me over that. But then when I went to validate my findings on this is a really good vehicle for overcoming the, let's call it, the flaws in the American diet, I got so much pushback from Google, the algorithm, the search engine, that I was a little shocked, as shocked as the results that I got from doing it, not the search results. But the search results shocked me too. So I put in something along the lines of, is ramen a good way to lose weight? And it said something along the lines, you may lose weight, but there will be significant negative health consequences of doing that. And I was like, what? And it started going into salt. It started going into carbohydrates and empty calories. And it started going into all this stuff. So what's interesting is the salt intake of Koreans and Japanese populations is astronomical compared to the United States. And they also have crazy lower instances of heart disease, obesity, and diabetes than we do. So I'm kind of finding a flaw. But I found one positive post, and it was a research article that was not released. It is waiting for peer review. And I'll bet you it won't get it. And it's by a group of people who, and I'll put a link in the description below, for this research article, because it's not a review. It's actual science. It's a scientific study where they did it. They brought in subjects. It's a real study. Whereas everything on Google, all the research articles that I got on Google were not based off of studies. they were based off of what are called reviews. Now, in academic research, a review is a bunch of different papers. You look at all these papers and you draw a conclusion from the summaries, the conclusions of all these papers. You draw your own conclusion off their conclusions. The problem is all of the studies that they used referenced other reviews. So it's sort of like a Russian nesting doll as far as research. In order to get to the actual research, which, mind you, was incredibly flawed when I looked at it. I'm having trouble with Google's analysis of whether or not ramen, noodle bowls, rice bowls are actually really bad for you in terms of weight loss. If you are indeed having a healthy meal and healthy snacks, as well as having one serving of a noodle bowl, a ramen bowl, or a rice bowl. I am seeing no adverse effects. I have enough energy to exercise, and the empty calories part about it, that actually kind of ticked me off, because the empty calories were carbohydrates, and this concept that carbohydrates are empty calories is, pardon my language, absolute bullshit. Carbohydrates are required for your brain. They're required for energy for your muscles. They are the metabolic gas that you run on. So taking away carbohydrates, significantly reducing carbohydrates, with no logic behind it, will make you weaker and dumber. Bottom line. The whole reason, and I know I'm going to get pushback on this, I eat before I go to bed. I have a bowl of cereal with milk before I go to bed. And the reason is because I, one, don't want to wake up hungry. Two, I want my brain to have food for whatever process it goes through in clearing out the waste in my brain overnight. And I want my cells to have the energy to revitalize, rest, and repair. And how do you repair? With the protein from the milk. So it's like having what is it? Like a protein shake before you go to bed. Instead, you get just milk. Really great. Really, really, really great source of protein. And I get whole grain cereals. I get the store brand, because for some reason the store brand, I shop at ShopRite. If you shop at ShopRite, I look at the labels, and the ingredients in the store brand are regular, basic ingredients: wheat, oats, sugar, what else? Honey. Whereas like the Honey Nut Cheerio, the brand one, Honey Nut Cheerios, has so many chemicals in it. So many molecular combinations that I can't even pronounce. They have so many syllables. So, but my point is, I eat well outside of just having the noodle bowls, and I'm doing great. I think it's a great alternative. I think it is an alternative that I've recommended to others, because portion control is the defining issue here, and it has been game changing in terms of changing my eating habits and allowing me to naturally lose weight, along with exercise. So I am a strong proponent of it. My next episode, I think I'm going to bring on the ones that I eat and why I eat them. And as well as like the snacks. So I'll do a this is what I eat kind of thing, and then you guys can just rake me over the coals if you want. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's eat noodle bowls, eat rice bowls, the instant ones. You can find them. They're inexpensive. I think our grocery bill has gone down like $200 because of it. It's a cost-effective way to get the energy that you need, and they're generally healthy. You know, what is it? 50 million Koreans can't be wrong. And I don't even know how many Japanese. I mean, the culture is the same in Japan where they eat instant noodles. And yeah, as long as you're eating something healthy for dinner, as long as your second, and if you eat 3 meals, your other 2 meals are, generally healthy. It's a great way, to help with portion control and to get the energy you need to get through the day. All right, that is my rant against Google and for noodle bowls. So you can take it or you can leave it. I prefer for you to take it. And if you have any questions, hit the comments. I'll glad to answer any questions. If you have any negative comments about it, please add them, but add them with data. Okay. If you don't have data, you're kind of a, you know what I mean? Yes, my data is anecdotal and experiential. I'm telling you about my experience, and I'm telling you I can't find studies that discount it. That's all. I'm finding, honestly, if you're doing a review, to me, that's anecdotal evidence. It's hearsay, so to speak. I know someone's going to get real ticked off, but I hate review studies. So, all right, that's all I got for you guys. This podcast, as I said in the beginning, was brought to you by Sea and Land Fitness. So head on over to www.sandlfit.com. That's www.sandlfit.com. And pick up a shirt, pick up a hat, pick up a sweatshirt. I redesigned everything. That's one of the reasons why this podcast took so long to get out, along with the technical difficulties. But I redesigned most of the t-shirts so that they would print better at the direction of our silk screener. Check them out. A lot of love went into making them, and pick one up. Also check out the programs that we have. $9.99 lifetime. We also have a free program. We've got a new free program coming soon. It's a calisthenics program. There's already a free calisthenics. That's with a sandbag. This one's without. And then check out the news, sign up for the newsletter, check out the articles. I love writing the articles. I write one once a month, for your benefit. So check them out. And, we are also brought to you by 511 Tactical. As I said, there is a link in the description below. Check out, they have a new, they have a brand new weight vest, exercise vest that came out, that comes in, I think it comes in black multicam. It's cool looking. It's basically based off of the Tac, which is the vest that I use. Really great. 511, solid company. I have so many of their products, their bags. I'm an instructor over at West Point, a pistol instructor, so I have their all their pouches and stuff for my pistol belt. So yes, 511. Check it out. So we're also brought to you by Gators. So check the link in the description below. Who else? Thorne Research. If you go through the link in the description below, you will get 10% off on the things that are in my dispensary, things that I chose, things that I use daily. If you want me to add something, let me know. I'll add it in there for 10% off. But please use the stuff I use. It is worth using, and all of it works. And finally, we're brought to you by RDX Sports, and there is a code that you can use. If you click the link in the description, use that code in your cart when you check out for 10% off. I had to get that right in my head. Sorry. So yeah, check them out. Again, I use their gloves. I use their focus pad mitts. I use their protective gear too. So, and my son and I both do. So check them out. All right. That is all I have for you. Later, honey badgers, honey badger actual.